Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back on the video from Seth the Programmer, and today we have got Naruto versus Boruto. Who would win? I do believe this has been covered previously with Swagkage and Seth, but I feel this is going to be a bit of an update, because I feel like back when they did that, there wasn't as many, feats that have been achieved within Boruto as they have now. And so I think the discussion is completely open now for a new approach. So, let's see what we've got in this Naruto versus Boruto. Who would win?
Hello everyone, it's your host, Seth the Programmer. With me today I have my good old friend, Six.
Oh, nice, cool.
By the way, did you know if you haven't subscribed to him, you actually should?
You should. I'm subscribed. He has got some good videos on there, man. The plot hole one was class.
But, it's pretty decent. So
and the Baryon Mode Minato one was cool, which has Seth the Programmer in it.
To his channel. I don't always upload Naruto and Boruto stuff, even though I upload a lot, but he always does, so
yeah.
You can look forward to that. Other than that, though, today's video will be on Naruto versus Boruto.
Wow.
So, this is actually a topic
like in the title.
For a long time. The last time I talked about it was, what, 2017?
Oh, there's the, there's the thumbnail.
And I were just like, well, Naruto would summon Giant Frog, and it would stomp on him or something. So, that might
not as big things to cover.
Yeah. Boruto has changed a lot since we made that video. Basically, back then, all we had was, what was it, the first arc or two?
Oh, wow.
That was about it, but now, especially in the anime, Boruto has done some crazy things that definitely make this, more even debate.
More of a debate, yeah, than it was previously. It was pretty one-sided, wasn't it?
May agree that, maybe Boruto is somewhat overpowered now. Hopefully we can actually have a conversation about it. Without further ado, why don't you just start us off?
So, with Momoshiki, right, this difference between anime and manga.
Damn.
I mean, they're separate continuities. The author sort of describes it like what's going on with Dragon Ball Super.
But they're both still canon.
Yeah, they're both still canon. Yeah, they just
different.
Go separate routes, if you will. So, in the manga, Momoshiki is weakened in his encounter with Boruto. We all know that. Boruto's obviously not like beating up Kaguya level.
No, not like these guys are. Like Sasuke and Naruto going at it.
In the anime, we see Momoshiki eat these chakra pills that he gets from B. And he actually takes the maximum amount of chakra that he can from B, at least without killing him. Right? So he takes 5, and he says that these pills are just pure power.
Right,
That's sort of the whole idea with Momoshiki versus Naruto. Momoshiki's a cheater.
He'll do anything to just get the power. Like, it doesn't work for it.
Naruto's sort of like the hard-working guy. He doesn't believe what Momoshiki's
confliction of
I talk about that whole narrative thing, by the way, in more detail in Boruto The Honest Truth, if you guys are interested.
Good video.
Really good video. But so that's the whole idea with
I just said
that.
that.
Momoshiki eats these pills, and then Boruto's actually able to combat and react to this Momoshiki. So you could say Boruto in the first arc of the show is an above 8 Tails level threat.
In the anime, this is somewhat diluted because obviously in the anime he has more of his Jogon Super Otsutsuki Eye ability, which kind of makes things a little bit more confusing. But in the manga, he actually just doesn't use that. So it's a little bit more confusing. Now, one thing I will say about these chakra pills that Momoshiki eats is that it's very confusing. So, for one, we have Momoshiki, he gets shot by an 8 Tails Bijou bomb. And he's like, you know what, why don't I just direct it with twice the force back at you? This is in the anime from what I remember. But why don't I just direct it back at you twice the force, and then blast the 8 Tails on some Mewtwo from the first Pokemon.
Yeah.
And just bounces it back at him and basically kills him. And then Momoshiki absorbs his energy, and he's like, is that it? Only 5 pills? I guess he was trash. And then gets the pill, puts the pills in his space pocket or wherever he puts them, we don't know. But it's weird
in his
because
inventory.
He felt the 8 Tails blast him with this Bijou bomb. He directs it back, and he's like, that's all he gave me. And then from what we learn is that the 8 Tails and Killer Bee may have given Momoshiki the slip entirely, which is why he only got 5 pills out of it.
Right.
Something that also somewhat backs this up is that One-Tailed Naruto in the anime, at least in the time travel arc, is trying to extract the Nine Tails from him, and he throws a fishing rod into his aura, and it basically just bounces off. But even that, it's enough to get one pill out of him. So are you telling me that little fart of chakra he ripped off from one-tailed Kid Naruto is one-fifth
of the
Killer Bee and the Eight Tails put together in Boruto?
Oof.
Probably a bit unlikely.
Yeah, not very likely at all. Yeah.
He's above Eight Tails level when Boruto is giving him the hands. Then, I mean, we don't need to discuss any further.
Jesus, yeah, that's some off scale in there.
Stomped. But that's an alternative interpretation. However, the anime actually gets even crazier with the scaling entirely, in which in the anime there is a arc where the Tsuchikage is basically having to fight against a group called Ku, where Inoki made these Otsutsuki slaying super clones of himself.
Literally the clones to fight Kaguya level threats.
Yes.
Right, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
So Kurosuchi runs into one of them, right? Or not one of them. He runs into the main one, the big guy Ku. Yep.
Okay.
They're in the village, and she uses like Nin Taijutsu Rock Fist to try to combat him, and he's just clapping.
Don't care.
He blocks it without. Dude, he blocks it without flinching. How absurd is that?
The sword doesn't even move. Like the shit she hit Kinshiki with, where she like punched him through the god tree.
Yeah.
Bounced around.
But then this guy's next level then.
No sells it.
Damn.
He doesn't even flinch.
And what's crazy about this, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, Kinshiki was off guard, he's getting jumped. But dude, Kinshiki watched her pull up in front of him. There's a few seconds while she winds up a punch,
and then she goes for it,
and then he gets launched away. And then while he gets hit by Chojiro's needle technique, I forgot the exact name. He gets hit by Chojiro's technique, and then he's like, that hurts. But he doesn't scream in pain until Kurosuchi starts hitting him with her sublime lime jutsu, like the sealing jutsu. Then he starts groaning in pain from her.
He takes a bit, doesn't he?
Around him. By the way, Chojiro is complete garbage in this anime, but we'll get into that in a minute. But basically, Kurosuchi's lime jutsu or whatever is able to
lime jutsu
suppress him and make him groan in pain. Yet here's that same girl throwing probably a stronger
more.
attack.
Look at the intensity of that. Like she's covered herself in Earth style as well, isn't it?
Stronger attack, but this is post Kinshiki, and it's implied all of the Kage are on guard, training, trying to be ready for Otsutsuki threats. So if anything, she might be stronger than ever before, using a stronger technique.
Yeah, because she would be training more after this.
Here's Team 7 bullying him.
Bodying Ku. So
literally bullying him.
There is a few counter arguments I've heard where people are like, oh, well, maybe Kurosuchi's not trying on Ku because they're in the middle of the village or whatever. I find this somewhat unlikely considering the people she's talking to. They literally are a threat to the village.
Yeah, so why would she even care?
A stronger method of force than what she used on Inosuke outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Inside. So I don't think that's a valid counter argument.
Yeah. The other weird one too is obviously you have Chojiro fighting 7 new swordsmen or whatever.
Yeah,
They're able to actually damage him with threads or something while he doesn't have his sword. Sure, he's at 50% power, but then you have pretty much a really garbage tier Team 7.
They were nowhere near in comparison to the original 7 swords, but of the mist though.
Something else
really wound me up watching that part of the anime. It's just what is happening?
From what I remember, a lot of Jonin are actually sent to the Sand Village to come and help it, and these Jonin are taken out by Ku's underlings. Yet Boruto and gang are able to handle it.
Yeah, obviously the main cast have to. It's really weird. It's plot driven, isn't it, rather than actually scaling it properly.
Now you can say this is, inconsistent or whatever, but I'm gonna be real with you. I just think it's the writers of these fillers don't
understand.
But they don't know what they're on about.
No, not at all.
Regardless, it's something in the anime it happened. You know what I mean? It's just something that happened. And what gets even worse is we get a literal time travel arc. That's what makes this video even more relevant than ever before.
It makes
we see Naruto next to Part 1 Kid Naruto.
Yep.
And it's not any Part 1 Kid Naruto, it's Part 1 Naruto, but he's stronger than any iteration of him in the manga because this is post-Sasuke retrieval.
Yeah.
This is him stronger than we've ever seen him.
So, oh right, so it's during the bit we didn't see.
Better chakra control than even like Naruto later in the series, like with Sage Mode, right? So that might sound wild. I know. I'll explain though.
Okay.
It's another 7 theory.
When Naruto enters this like one-tailed QB form, he's able to form Rasengan without using 2 hands. He can actually do it using 1 hand. But then in the war arc with KCM, Naruto still says to B that he can't form Rasengan using 1 hand. He still needs shadow clones. So that's just a way to say like this Naruto just has like supreme chakra control.
Wow. Okay.
It also might be because of Boruto. It might also be because of Boruto helping him out, helping him calm down.
Yeah.
Honestly, that whole time travel arc, in my personal opinion, it should have been more of a movie or something.
Definitely.
Like
Not like,
movie.
yeah, within the anime series.
In the anime, now, something interesting is that...
Because with the movies, you can just get with anything, because it's just seen as a completely different thing, isn't it? But, yeah.
arc is not canon. So, take that as you will. I don't know where the evidence for that is from, but if it is, that's great. But if it is canon, and it's valid for this discussion, we kind of have a lot to talk about, because... we get introduced to Urashiki, and Urashiki,
God.
in basically everything that talks about him, any extra material that talks about him, it says that he is revered being honored,
strongest of his clan.
Wow. As the strongest of his clan.
And then he just can't beat Boruto and Naruto as a kid.
And it might actually be consistent when you figure out that he might actually have better feats than base Kinshiki and base Momoshiki.
If that's the case.
From what we know, base Kinshiki and Momoshiki, they're struggling with the Kage or whatever. They struggle with 2-on-1s. For instance, you have Darui and Gaara. They're kind of giving base Momoshiki a hard time, and Kinshikis just getting kind of bullied around. But Urashiki faces against Sasuke, who just came from another dimension. He just transported out with his Renegon against Gaara, and it's actually stated verbatim in these extra materials that Sasuke and Gaara cannot defeat Urashiki at all.
Urashiki's fought Gaara twice. Both times Gaara's had a teammate. First time was Chojuro.
Yeah.
Second time was Sasuke. He's gotten away from Gaara both times. So, I mean, it's a pretty consistent thing for Urashiki to be over Gaara at least.
Yes. And what's even crazier is that it's implied that Boruto and Shinji stand a chance against Urashiki.
Right.
When Gaara and Sasuke didn't.
Yeah. So weird. So weird.
It's like, now, for Sasuke, you can say, oh, well, Sasuke's, suppressed or whatever, but Gaara, he's at full power, and he's taken punches from Fusion Momoshiki in both the manga and the anime, and yet Boruto and, his friend are taking down Urashiki, and then
so inconsistent now.
So inconsistent. They go back in time, and Urashiki gets stronger. He uses his Renegon powers. He gets his Tomo Renegon.
Yeah, weird abilities with that.
He gets a blue Renegon on top of that. Now, you might be able to argue that Jiraiya poisoned him at certain points, but even then, you have situations where Urashiki is clearly taking Kirin from Sasuke.
Jeez, yeah.
Okay? Or avoiding Amaterasu with Sasuke's sword. Do you think that Part 1 Naruto could ever take on an opponent that could take Kirin?
No.
Well, apparently in this time travel
he
arc,
can.
he can.
But like Kirin hits him, it doesn't kill him. Then double Rasengan hits him, and he's just gone. Like no karma, nothing. He's out of there, dead.
Yeah.
And then Urashiki even applies, right? When he's trying to evolve, right? That's what Otsutsuki do. They try to evolve through like obtaining chakra and chakra moves. He even implies that the amount of chakra he took from Sasuke, which was enough to like put Sasuke out of commission for a whole arc, bring him back down to Part 1 level.
Damn.
He implies that that's not enough, and that's why he eats his blue Renegon to evolve.
Yeah. So you have Shinki and Boruto, they're stronger than Gaara and Nerf
So
Sasuke.
weird
then
that they do stuff like
Naruto
this.
From Part 1 and Boruto working together to beat Urashiki. Now, something that makes this crazy, though, is that I've heard some people say that in this time travel arc that this Naruto is stronger than normal or something. So
Wait,
it might be
why?
some alternate
Why though?
timeline Naruto,
Why?
which is why he's so strong. Which would make Boruto stomp pretty objectively. However, if we do say that they are like somewhat relative, you can say they combined their Rasengans and they use a perfect combination attack, which it was implied they were doing. To use a perfect combination attack, you kind of have to have matching chakra, which is implied with Naruto and
Sasuke, that's how they're able to. Yeah.
The Rasen Shuriken
Like
and Amaterasu.
Amaterasu, Inferno, Rasen Shuriken, Tempest, Ultra Style, whatever
Minato
Minato
says he's matching Naruto's chakra levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever Minato named that technique, I don't know. But regardless, so if you imply that, then Boruto matched his chakra level, and then obviously Boruto just gets stronger as time goes on. The other thing too is that even while somewhat off guard and not trying to mess with Naruto, and Naruto's in his one-tailed cloak and going kind of feral, Boruto's actually able to react to his slashes. Now, while Naruto's able to cut him, base Boruto is still actually reacting to these slashes.
Yeah, he's okay.
Some level of relativity that may justify the Rasengan clashing with Naruto's. Another thing that makes Boruto combining his Rasengan with one-tailed Naruto so convincing as well is that, as we know, Boruto does not just make normal Rasengans, he makes nature-infused Rasengans that are stronger than normal, which is why they're able to which is why he's able to kind of knock down Momoshiki with them, and he has abnormally powerful Rasengans, because they're almost like his own weird version of Rasen Shuriken instead, which is, so...
He combines the chakra. Naruto does the same thing, except they just don't call it the high compression Rasengan. So Naruto gets like wind release on top of his Rasengan, but then he takes it a step further to make a new jutsu. That's the Rasen Shuriken. Boruto just doesn't take that last step, and he just keeps the high compression Rasengan.
Yeah. So from there, we obviously know in the manga that while getting goaded by Code into doing it, Boruto is able to use basically over 80% of his downloaded Momoshiki data as a karma power-up at will and activate his Byakugan. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you guys. There's just no way that Naruto at all can take this Boruto. If Boruto is at all using this karma, and this karma is at all even like a decent or somewhat
he manages to
of the real Momoshiki,
get Sasuke with like the kunai in the eye in his Rinnegan, which is meant to like help him like react to whatever the
is how strong he'd be, like an actual cannon or something. So it just doesn't really make a lot of sense for Naruto to even compete. Even in the original, as we said, Boruto's already kind of reacting to one-tails, let alone his karma mark. Now, something else that also, even without this, say, oh, well, that's just a BS, karma, Otsutsuki, Gary's 2 power-up. Even then, Team 7 does fight Boro. Alright, and Boro, he's no joke.
Car Inners are supposed to be like these Otsutsuki level powered up beings.
Yes. And one thing about Boro specifically is that there's a guidebook that says, Code thought that he and Boro were greater than Delta, and that they might need to handle Naruto if Delta couldn't. Now, you could just say that this is because Boro has, regeneration and like virus hacks or some weird things. However, it just kind of goes to show that Boro, even at all being relevant in a fight that Delta couldn't handle, is pretty astronomical of a statement. So, if someone was just able to beat Delta, and Boro was just an ant in comparison, and was just infinitesimally weaker, and he couldn't even like perceive the fighter who beat Delta, it's pretty weird to say that, you'll just deal with it when you can. So, Team 7 beating Boro, who's like this Otsutsuki, created...
Definitely puts Boruto up there.
Kara, it's really just above anything Part 1 Naruto's ever dreamed.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately. But
if you're going to take it like a step further, Kawaki says that in some ways, Boro's even worse than Jigen, so...
Right.
Yeah, and Team 7 deals with them. Now, obviously, Boruto doesn't solo
No.
Boro or whatever.
It's a team effort.
He's still relevant in the fight. And I believe when Boro is rampaging, he actually hits a few of the team members, and they actually survive hits from him.
They get
Which is crazy, that's mad.
out of chakra.
which, once again, even them surviving a hit from him,
that's something else.
More insane.
And Sarada's just blatantly faster than him. Like, when Sarada's got her Sharingan on, in the anime is Tutomo Manga 3, doesn't matter. She's just saying Boro's not that fast compared to her. Like, she can get out of the way of all of his hits, and Boro only ever hits Sarada whenever Sarada's acting weak in order for the plan to go through. And then obviously she pulls out Chidori and he just gets destroyed.
So what are some pro Naruto Part 1
Right, come on.
arguments? Are there any pro Naruto arguments at this point? Because I feel like after the time skip or the time travel arc, there just isn't any. There's just no way.
It's just like Boruto spanking, really.
Yeah, and not to disrespect Naruto, Part 1. I like Naruto Part 1 more than Boruto, for what it's worth.
Yes, definitely.
And back in the day, we did say Naruto wins based on the information we had, but due to these updates, there's just absolutely no way he can take on a Nozuki program Boruto. And maybe at best he might be able to fight base Boruto. However, base Boruto, even taking in a hit from Amped Boro, is just beyond anything Part 1.
Yeah, no way Naruto could handle that at all.
Ever done that's that level, go ahead, and the only thing you're going to be able to point out is literally Boruto filler, where he's back in time with Boruto, and Boruto and him are both fighting Momoshiki. And for some reason, Naruto with one tail is stronger than Jiraiya and base Sasuke, despite
which is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Four-tailed Naruto, let alone one-tailed Naruto. And like Six said, this Naruto, even in the past, may have been amped by Boruto saying, Dad or whatever, which let him create this Rasengan over his head without any hands, which he's never done anywhere else in Part 1. Even when he was fighting Sasuke, he still used one hand to create his Vermilion Rasengan. Wasn't nearly as big or powerful, but Boruto reaching out to him does. So he might have been amped as well.
Jiraiya's Rasengan, bruises Urashiki's, cloak. But then the combination of these two
does damage.
Erases him.
It's crazy.
It's just clear. It's just such weird scaling to take
doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
Complete canon to the original material.
Right. It creates kind of a loop, and everyone in the community has talked about, man, this arc cannot be canon. It's so weird. It just has so many connotations. Either they went to a different timeline, or it just can't be canon. It's so weird. But even then, it doesn't make a lot of sense because we've seen Orochimaru, while weaker than he was in Part 1, fight four-tailed Naruto. And Orochimaru in Part 1, while stronger, is apparently relative to Jiraiya, base Jiraiya.
Yeah.
Who can also fight four-tailed Naruto and survive. So one-tailed Naruto being godly stronger.
It's crazy. It's so weird.
Jiraiya,
what?
Just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Unless Oroshiki is just suppressed and Jiraiya is as well, or Oroshiki's poisoned and weakened. But anyways, you guys get the idea. I don't want to rant about why Boruto beats Naruto. It kind of gives me a sick taste in my stomach.
Yeah, you gotta face the facts though, I guess.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe if you did. Also be sure to check out Six's channel. Thank you very much for coming on, and I hope you guys learned something. And other than that, until next time.
No outro. Anyway, yeah, Boruto definitely got that one. It's a shame, but it's true. Sad, but true. Yeah, it's all different now. Obviously, it's the power creep with the shonen in it. It's Boruto characters have to be stronger than the Naruto characters now, so, as it's going on. So yeah, some major inconsistencies with power scaling, but yeah, Boruto, I think he's right. He's got it. So, yeah, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, links in the description of the Patreon page. $1 a month, so that helps support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you're not already. Leave comments down below. Let me know how to watch us in future videos, and I'll see you guys next time.